not perfect, I know it, but I don't deserve this. So put me back in my cage, I swear I'll be fine. Frustration's an ocean, the pain does take its portion. Don't empty out this raft I'm in, cause I'm not sure if I can swim.
Breaker Crunchers! It's Friday night in Phoenix, Arizona. We are the Couch Crunchers. My name is Lance. This guy to my left is Max. The guy below us is Sam. Sam's usually a bottom guy.
I got thrown off for a second.
I just said a gay joke off the cuff.
Oh, okay. I got thrown off with our intro there because you made it longer. I wasn't realizing it. I'm like, wait.
Oh yeah, that's supposed to fade out.
I like it.
That's a new thing I'm doing. I'm keeping you guys constantly on your toes.
Oh, that was pretty dope.
Well,
pretty dope intro.
You know what would be even more dope is if my camera would stay in focus.
Yeah, it never does.
Yeah, the intro lasts like 30 seconds tops. The camera fuzziness lasts a lifetime.
A lot long. Yes.
I know. So tonight, if you watched our title card, we're talking about the last episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier. But first, I want to know, what are you guys watching? Max, you watching anything good?
You know, I'm really not. I mean, I am, but I'm not.
Riveting.
Yeah, so I haven't been watching much. I've been replaying Red Dead Redemption 2, which I was doing about a year ago, and then my Xbox broke. And that's what led me to get my PC. And ever since I got my PC, I've been like, you know what, I kind of want to replay Red Dead, even though I was literally in the final chapter on Xbox when I was replaying it. And it's a long game. But I decided to buy Red Dead a while back, and I decided to replay it on the PC. And I just finished it last night, the epilogue and all. Man, that game is a masterpiece. It is so stinking good. I know you have it, Lance. That's definitely one you'll need to jump into.
I bought it and have not yet played it. So, gosh dang it. It looks like I'm in a drunk bubble. Yeah, I bought it and have not yet played it. Oh my gosh. This camera.
Yeah.
And, anyway, but I got sucked into Assassin's Creed instead.
No, I get it. Assassin's Creed Valhalla is really fun too, but Red Dead 2 is just one of the greatest games I think that's ever been made. And so that's what I've been up to. I've been replaying that. It's been really fun.
Thank you.
I gotta say, they need to update that thing for consoles because the new consoles can definitely run it better than the old ones did. And I've been playing it on my PC, and I've got a beefy PC. Sam's being funny in the chat. I've got a pretty beefy PC, and so I'm able to run the game at like 1440p, pretty high settings, and I'm getting like 90 FPS, and it just runs so smooth, and it's such a nice experience. But on console, it only runs at 30, and I've been playing on PC so much more lately that like I can't play games at 30 frames per second anymore. It's just hard for me. So I'm really hoping.
You've always been kind of a stickler for that stuff. Me, I don't care.
You know, about a year ago, I wasn't. I was a stickler for resolution. I didn't care if it was higher. Like anytime I get like a game on my PS4 Pro or my Xbox One X, I'd always pick the resolution mode because I didn't care. But my eyes were really used to 30 frames, and so it wasn't an issue. So it's kind of a bad thing to get used to something better because now I'm like spoiled. Because on PC, I don't have to compromise. On the Xbox, I did. It would be like not really low resolution, but fairly low resolution, but higher frames. Whereas on PC, I can get high resolution and high frames. And so anyway, it's whatever. But yeah, Red Dead 2, I've also been slowly rewatching The Punisher. I'm on season 2. And that's kind of what I've been up to. I don't think we really want to talk about it on this show, but I've been paying a lot of attention to some like recent events. I like stayed up till 1 a.m. listening to closing arguments on the Chauvin trial earlier this week. It's just kind of a fascinating case for our time. I know, Sam, you're an attorney. I don't know if you were following it or not, but that's just kind of one of the things I was I was doing this week. All of a sudden I look down at my phone on like Monday evening and I'm like, oh crap, it's 1 a.m. and I'm listening to defense's closing arguments for the last 3 hours. So yeah.
Matt just freaked out a little bit. I was messing with my camera settings, Matt.
I did. All of a sudden you were just zooming in and out. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
It was very dramatic.
He's trying
If
to
you
add
guys-
some flavor.
Yeah, if you guys haven't noticed, Matt is joining us tonight
Hello.
from the, what should I say, newly resurrected Absolute
Geek Podcast. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Welcome back,
So-
Matt.
Thank you.
Matt
Thank
is
you.
a good friend of the show. We are so stoked to have AGP back, and we're excited to see what the future holds for you, my friend.
Are you going to be solo podcasting for the time being, or are you still kind of ramp up a crew?
I'm looking for a crew, but I think I'm gonna crack it off solo to start, and we'll see what happens.
Cool.
So
How the magic is made, man.
that's right.
I could listen to Matt talk
Throw
about
shit on the-
I
Batman.
make plenty of magic solo all the time. So
I
why
could
not just
listen-
do it in
if you
audio
really-
form?
If you guys really enjoy top-notch Matt content, you should follow him on Twitch. And
Yeah.
because it gets
Terrible
pretty
Twitch.
lonely with just me in chat.
I was watching the other day, but I wasn't able to stay tuned in for very long, so I didn't even say anything in the chat. But I saw you playing some Warzone the other day.
I do dabble
played
a little bit in Warzone.
He played Warzone Wednesdays on Tuesday this week, so
That's right.
he had to fill his Wednesday with his brand new OnlyFans channel.
It's like spaghetti. It's like spaghetti Thursdays on Wednesday, right?
Yeah. So
So what's your OnlyFans name, Matt? Is it Matt on his back?
Spaghetti Thursdays. He just drapes spaghetti over his naked body.
It's meat my feet, where it's all just me playing with like different types of ground meat with my feet. That's all it is.
Oh, that sounds hot.
Scrumptious.
Oh man!
Oh gosh,
You know what? There's people that I'm
That's
sure would be
that's
into
the
it.
high culture.
dude, I'm
content
pretty
that
sure
this-
it's been done.
I'm just telling ground
sure
tenderloin really feels good between the toes.
Yeah. That's the cultured content that this podcast really needs.
Yeah, absolutely. We need to class this up a little, boys.
Matt is
Never
a man
get
of
enough.
high culture.
Can never get enough meat play.
So I gotta ask though, when you're playing with meat with your feet, does it get stuck in there? Kind of like when you go to the beach and there's sand.
It does, but that's why you get a dog. And
Okay,
and
all
they,
right.
just lick between your toes, and it's all good.
That's
You pay extra for that. That's
better.
content.
That's
content
the
is
premium
only available.
content.
Yeah, that content's
the
available on
ASMR.
Patreon.
Premium rate for that.
That's
content.
the
Not
ASMR
only that,
content,
but
right?
it fulfills one of Matt's fetishes. So
right.
having a dog lick his
You
feet.
pay $5 for my Patreon. You get to watch dog lick the toes.
Every
Who's a good boy.
every 30 subs, Matt will substitute a new meat into his feet grinding.
Dude, I'm waiting for
Veal?
Italian sausage, dude. I think that one's gonna be a
Oh,
good
yeah.
episode.
I'm gonna roll those and I'm gonna encase them too with my feet. So it'll be a big undertaking, but I'm gonna try it out.
Yeah.
Our viewership just went down to 0.
Oh,
It's all right. They're just not ready to accept their freakiness yet. Understandable.
so
I get it.
So Matt, you haven't been on a show in a couple weeks, right? A couple months,
Mm-hmm.
because you got yourself a girlfriend.
I
right?
did.
So I want to know: is there anything that you've been watching, or anything that you want to get people on the bandwagon?
Oh man, so much. Invincible. If you guys aren't watching Invincible on Amazon Prime, that's pretty legit. Mighty Ducks Game Changers. Come on, Mighty Ducks fans. It's
I need to
Man
cheesy.
after
watch
my
it.
own heart, dude.
It's fantastic.
Emilio!
You know,
This is what I discovered about Matt. He and I have like the exact same taste in television shows.
it captured the magic of the old movies. My girlfriend is actually in the other room. She'll probably kill me when I say this, but she's trying to get me to watch Friends, and I absolutely refuse to watch Friends.
They were on a break. Okay.
I'm not gonna jump into a series that's from the 90s now that I don't care about. She's also trying to get me to
You've
watch
never
Hands.
seen it?
I've watched episodes here and there, but I'm not going to sit there and watch the entire series.
Yeah, I'm with
Yeah.
you. My wife watches it at least once a year. I catch a few episodes when she watches it, but
she's really trying to get me to watch Handmaid's Tale because the 3rd season's coming up. And
that show's good, dude.
And I'm like, I fall asleep every time we start it. I can't get into it.
That show has to be top 10 easy for me. That show's good.
She's like, oh my God, wait, watch, this is going to happen. And I'm just like, yep. And then she's like, did you see that? And I was like, yep. I saw it.
So
can't do it.
You just got to hold the friends card in your pocket until there's something that you really want her to watch with you. And you say, fine.
Oh, it's already been. She already says that you want me to watch your shows, but you won't even watch Friends. I'm like, no, I'm good.
So I wasn't a big Friends fan till I got married. My wife was a huge Friends fan and started watching it like every night to fall asleep. And then I found myself getting sucked into it, and it's damn funny, dude.
It's definitely funny, but it's not at the top of my list.
No, I don't think it's the best show ever made.
It's more like a dang funny.
So,
I'd rather
what
watch
else, dude? Anything else?
I would rather watch like endless Dane Cook comedy specials than sit through all our Friends.
That is
that
rough, bro. That's rough. You really know my Friends.
No,
dude. Okay, so you guys reminded me because you said Amazon, and it got me thinking. My wife just started watching the show, and I'm kind of interested. I might try to watch some of it myself, but it's like I don't know what it's called, but it's like therapy sessions. Basically, it's like couple therapy sessions on Amazon.
Couples therapy.
Is that what it's called? It's just called couples therapy. Well, I watched
that'd be a really hard name. That's a really hard name to remember.
Well, I didn't know if it was called something else.
It's a movie where couples go into therapy. What's that name?
Couples Retreat.
Name of that show.
It's like a reality show.
No, but yeah, it's a reality show. It's actual, like, from what I understand, it's like actual therapy sessions. But man alive, it just amazes me in the 5 minutes that I watched of it, the way some people think. Like, there's literally this guy on there who's saying, all I want, he's like, I'm really easy. All I want is for, to get as much sex as I want, whenever I want. It needs to be enthusiastic, and she needs to know when I want it and give it to me. And I'm like, bro, he's like,
we all want.
And he's like, I don't want to have to do anything, and she needs to be enthusiastic. And I'm like, so you have to put in no effort to the marriage and get everything you want. That sounds reasonable. And then later he's like, yeah, I just feel like she should understand what I want, and I shouldn't have to ask for it. Like, she should know I want a cup of water and bring it to me. And I'm like, what? No.
That sounds like that 40s, 50s idea of a marriage, dude. Like,
well, and that's what the woman said. She's like, it sounds like you want a mother. Sounds like you want a mom. He's like, no, and then she's like, have you ever had a relationship like that? No. But it should be that way. And I'm like, you're an idiot, dude. That is not.
Who in their right mind would allow somebody to film themselves in that situation? Dude, man, 9 times out of 10, the man is not going to come out on top. It's just the way it is.
I filmed myself playing with meat with my feet, so I guess it's possible, right?
No shame.
No, yeah, zero. Absolutely done.
No, you should make sure you do, on like one day a week, you got to do an Impossible Burger. Okay, we got to make sure we're putting in some friendly, plant-based options.
Hot ones can do vegan wings. You can do Impossible Burger.
Yeah,
dude. Maybe the cauliflower wings. Is that what they do? Maybe
have to start doing Tofu Tuesdays.
Matt or Sam, curse you for getting me into Hot Ones, dude. I could get sucked into that channel.
That's a great channel. So good.
Yeah. I watched the Steve-O episode the other day, the newest Steve-O episode, and I was laughing my butt off.
Steve-O, The Return.
Yeah, from Jackass.
He drinks his own hot sauce at the end and then puts it in his eye.
Yeah.
Yep.
Have they been doing Hot Ones kind of business as usual, even through COVID?
Well,
it's remote.
They had to do it remotely. And
so how does that work? They like mail them hot wings?
Exactly. Well, they mail them the sauce, and then they have the wings delivered, and then they just basically do like a Zoom and record it.
Okay, sauce your own wings, and okay.
Yeah.
I guess that could work. Is it still pretty good?
The Steve-O episode was good.
It's not always as good. I mean, I had to watch
that in-person element. Just the chemistry is there.
It does. There's a lot more chemistry. Jessica Alba was fun to watch, though. I had to turn the volume down all the way, but it was very fun.
All the way. You had to turn the volume down all the way.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Me like you, Jessica Alba.
I had the audio
Why
from
can't we
Matt's.
get through
I
an
had the
episode
audio
without-
from. I had the audio from
What?
Matt's OnlyFans, and then I had Jessica Alba. That video from Jessica Alba. Great combination. Very good combination.
I don't know why we can't get through an episode without me commenting on somebody I think is hot.
Dude, we can't get through there's at least 4 or 5 times an episode, Lance. And I always rein you in. You're like, "Isn't she hot, Max?" And I'm like, "Yes, she's a beautiful woman." I'm trying to be
yes, that's what we pay her for. That's exactly what we pay her for, Lance. Yes, we know.
Sam, what about you, man? Are you watching anything good?
Okay, besides Unknown Reapers OnlyFans, I do also watch. I saw a movie this week, an anime movie called Demon Slayer Mugen Train. Demon Slayer is an anime. It's kind of exploded on the scene. It's taken Japan by storm. It's sweeping across the world, getting a lot of praise, a lot of fandom. And I went and saw the movie. So I've read the whole series. There's one season out on Netflix and other apps that have it available, Demon Slayer. And they released the next story arc rather than put it into a season 2, which was going to take a while to animate. They did a movie. They've been working on a movie for a while, and they released the next story arc in this movie. And it's a 2-hour-long movie. It's rated R. As an anime movie, that's kind of rare to see a rated R anime getting so much praise, but it's the #1 animated or top grossing anime movie in Japan of all time.
Wow.
And I had high expectations going into it. Basically, the premise of the movie is like they're on a train. They have samurai
party.
Yeah, they're having a great time. They love when I talk about movies. They're on a train. They have samurai swords, and they're hunting demons. That's about all you need to know to really understand what's happening. And one of the demons on the train is like Freddy Krueger, I guess. And so it's Freddy Krueger.
Oh, we lost Max.
Nightmare on Elm Street meets
Snowpiercer.
Orient Express. It's an older train. Orient Express meets firebending and samurai swords, and it's also really, really emotional and a lot of jibber jabber. So Gilmore Girls, we'll throw that in there too. So yeah,
Let's just
a lot
throw
of
all of it in a pot. Stir it around.
throw it all in a pot, blend it up. Squeeze it
And
through
out
Matt's
comes
toes,
demon.
and that's what you get.
That's right.
But it was all right. It was pretty good. I mean, it's not my favorite anime movie of all time, but it was a good show. And the other thing I'm really looking forward to, it's happening tomorrow morning, is the Josh Swain Battle Royale happening in Lincoln, Nebraska, and on your internet outlet near you. I was explaining this to Lance before the show, but
Have you heard about this, Matt?
No.
are you familiar with the Josh Swain battle?
All right,
No.
Sam, tell the story.
All right, so a year ago, we're about a month into lockdown. This kid down in Tucson named Josh Swain goes on Facebook and he finds all the other Josh Swains he can find, and he said there were probably about 300 of them. But he invited the first 9 into a Facebook Messenger group, and he says, "You're wondering why I called you all here." And they're like, "We have the same name." He says, Exactly 1 year from today at noon, at these coordinates, we're going to meet and we're going to do battle. And whoever wins gets to keep the name. Everyone else has to change it. You have a year to prepare. Godspeed." And that's it. Well,
It's tomorrow.
He screen grabbed it. He put it up on Twitter and then on Reddit. And of course, the internet doesn't forget stuff like that. So they started a countdown about a month ago. If you go to joshversusjosh.com, You can see
Oh my
the
gosh, they
countdown.
actually made a website for it.
And I think
Awesome.
that's where they're going to stream it. They're going to stream the battle. It's just outside Lincoln, Nebraska. So if you start driving now, you could probably get there before they start.
14
the battle.
hours. It just says soon.
Soon.
I
So
saw an
stupid.
update though that there was a piece of like not plyboard, but anyway, there was a basically
It's a pallet.
sign,
It's an oak pallet.
Yeah, they said they had to change the venue because it's private property.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the original coordinates were supposedly the geographic center of the United States to make sure that everyone had equal chance to get there. But they moved it to a nearby park. They moved it to a nearby park that has plenty of room. There was another nearby park that was like an island, and I was like, "Oh, that'd be perfect. You just throw them in the water and they're out." But they decided not to go with that one. They're going with it's just a field near an air park. So
what are they
I'm
actually
just
going to
hoping
do?
somebody stabs the guy with the trident.
Are they actually going to like fight? They gonna like box each other or something?
well, the official word is pool noodles. It's going to be a pool noodle battle.
Okay.
But you never know who's going to roll up with an actual weapon or something like that. But hopefully more than one Josh Swain actually shows up.
I sure hope.
That'd
I
be
sure
funny. It
hope
goes
so.
live and it's just one dude standing out. In the empty
One dude
field.
and a bunch of people going like, something happened. It's going to be Area 51, but way worse.
Look, I mean, people showed up to clap alien cheeks at Area 51, so you'll have people showing up for this, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll
the
be plenty.
Naruto. What was it called? The Naruto run or
Yeah,
Well,
we're
no,
gonna.
they had all you had the Naruto runners going in first, and then you had the Kyles coming in with their monster and drywall punch in second. And you had it was all kinds of a strategic.
Yeah.
It was a strategic event.
So tune in to Josh versus Josh.com tomorrow by 11 o'clock. That's when it's supposed to start. 11 o'clock Arizona time, noon Nebraska
To watch
time.
one lonely man with no friends stand in the middle of a field while nothing happens.
Well, he's an Arizonan, so I'm going to support, Arizonan Josh, and hopefully he takes home the victor's crown.
Yeah, but he's from Tucson, so is he really from Arizona?
Look, that's a good question. That's a great question. But if you can go to Tucson to collect toys with Jay, then I suppose.
Right?
Yeah, but I hold my breath the whole time. By the time I'm leaving, I'm purple in the face.
I like to joke about Tucson, but they got some good Mexican food. They got some real good food down there.
Okay, Max. Yeah, we'll give them that one, but that's the last one they get.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure all the Mexican food has been pressed with Matt's feet. So
Yes, it has.
No, they wish they could have Matt's.
They've got an advantage. They're like an hour from the border, so it's not even fair. Not even fair.
let's get I didn't even talk about what I'm watching. So Invincible, awesome. Mighty Ducks, awesome. Good call, Matt. I've also been watching the John Stamos thing on Disney Plus too, the Big Shots. That one's pretty good. I like that one. Have you seen that one, Matt?
I've not started watching that yet.
Yeah, it's only 2 episodes in, and it's pretty funny. Sometimes you forget you're watching John Stamos.
I don't think
he's
my
actually
wife knew
decent.
there was a John Stamos thing on Disney Plus because
Yeah,
that she'd be watching that on repeat if she knew.
he's like a world-renowned college basketball coach, and he gets let go because he throws a chair at a referee, and he gets stuck. To try to rebuild his career, he has to coach high school basketball at an all-girls school, and it's pretty funny, and he makes the girls cry like within 5 minutes.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's interesting.
really good. Yeah, it's good. But I'm trying to think. Oh, we just finished Made for Love on HBO Max. Have you guys seen that one?
No.
Nope.
It's pretty good, dude. It's with the girl from Palm Springs. I can't remember her name. Christina Melanti, I think her name is, or something like that. And essentially, she is married to what would be the equivalent of like the guy that runs Google or Mark Zuckerberg or something. And he implants a chip in her brain without her knowing that allows him to see everything she does. It's like a GPS like sync thing. And it's pretty funny. And Ray Romano's in it, and I love Ray Romano. Ever since The Big Sick, I've been a big Ray Romano fan. But
Everybody loves Ray.
Yeah, Ray's great.
They've named a show after it.
It's true.
So anybody can do a good Ray impression?
Oh no.
That's my Ray Romano.
Yeah, the best part about the show is his wife. So he's the father of Christina Milioti. His wife died a couple years before that, and his significant other is a sex doll that he like dresses up in his dead wife's clothes and stuff. So it's really dark comedy.
Sounds legit.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good. And then we finished Lovecraft Country, which was really good, and Them on Amazon Prime, which are kind of similar shows. But
yeah, you were talking about those on last week's episode, I thought.
Yeah, Lovecraft Country's good, man. It's really good.
Is it better or worse than They Live?
Well, there's a it's more sci-fi, so there's like an alien witchcraft.
Are you saying They Live is not sci-fi?
Well, it's like it's more like the content of which they're talking on the show. There's just a lot more science elements to it that make it more sci-fi. So I'm trying to remember They Live. What wasn't the protagonist like wasn't the villain like a demon?
And They Live?
Yeah, I can't remember. I don't remember that movie very well.
Oh, and They Live, it's this guy finds a pair of sunglasses that allows him to see through all the alien stuff. And he sees that a lot of the people are actually aliens, and all of the ads are actually subliminal messages. It's an 80s movie.
Maybe I haven't even seen that movie.
I've never heard of it.
Was there another movie that came out recently called
I don't
They
think
Live?
So. I don't think so.
I thought there was a horror movie called that. Oh well.
How can you not know They Live? It's a Roddy Piper special, man.
Yeah.
I don't remember that at all, but I think I'm going to watch it now.
Kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of.
Bubble gum.
Yep.
I think I'm going to watch it now because the premise sounds awesome.
It's great.
But, huh?
It's great. It's at least twice as good as Samurai Cop.
That's your
Are
favorite.
you setting
bad
me up
movie?
for a movie that's not going to be good?
What?
Are you setting me up for a movie that's not going to be good?
No,
Am I going to watch it and be like,
it's at least twice as good as Samurai Cop.
yeah, but you've
It's
talked
not
some crap
quite as
about
good.
Samurai.
It's not quite as good as Kung Fury.
They Live is like a cult. It's like a cult
It's
classic.
a cult
man.
classic, dude. Yeah.
All right, then I need to watch it. Let's get into our main topic of the night. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the series finale. Thanks, Max.
You're welcome.
So it was the longest episode of the season, I think, right? Because it felt like it was going
51 minutes. It seemed pretty comparable with the other ones.
I think
Yeah.
last week's was at 60, wasn't it? Or right around 62.
I'm not sure. I didn't really pay attention to run times for this show. They were longer than WandaVision. I know that.
Yes.
Yeah. I've been noticing like Disney Plus, they spend so long on the credits that I kind of like put a tally like when the show actually ends. Now I gotta watch what I say. No F-bombs.
Uh-oh.
Baby on board.
Yeah. So with Disney Plus, I don't know what their fascination is with having the longest credit scenes ever. But they put that a show's going to be 60 minutes and then it's 15 minutes of credit scenes. So
Their credits are way too long.
I got a lot of people working
it's
on
bad.
those shows, man.
Yeah, scroll it faster.
okay, but not everybody needs like a single screen with just their name on it. Because like the scene where it's just showing you pictures, like the posters that have all been ripped up, seems to go on forever. Like it never ends. Because I watched it today thinking maybe there's an after credit scene because the last 4 episodes have had, or however many have had after credit scenes. I'm thinking they'll definitely have
There was a mid credit.
Yeah, but so I watched the whole thing, and it seemed to take forever to get to the mid credit scene.
That's why
But then
I
I
just
watched
fast
more
forward.
of it, thinking there was
Yeah,
Right, that's what I do too. I was like,
too.
the remotes are or the batteries are half dead in my remote, so I would actually have to like get up and I need to.
You know, if you saw the batteries as half full instead, you might get better results.
Maybe they work better on work. But yeah, so this episode sees kind of the culmination of the Flag Smashers and what they were doing, and we get to see Sam finally take his mantle of the Captain America mantle, which we all knew was coming because they did. That was probably the internet's worst kept secret.
Well, of course, that was the point of the show.
No, but by the time of the second episode, there was already scenes on or pictures online of what his suit was going to look like. So,
I had no idea what his suit was going to look like.
Like WandaVision, they kept everything so tight-lipped. We were sitting here like, "What's happening?" Right? And this, we pretty much knew. Sam called that Sharon was the power broker. Middle of the first episode, it seemed like.
Is she? Is she? I mean, is she? No, I'm not. No, I am. No, I didn't. I did.
I have a theory.
I have a theory.
Is she like the Dread Pirate Roberts?
I have a theory of who she is.
I know who the power broker is. Ralph Boner.
Tell us your theory, Matt. I'd love to hear it.
She's a Skrull. It's not Sharon Carter. That's a Skrull. It's gonna lead. It's gonna lead to. We just got the announcement of Cap 4 being made today. That there's gonna be Captain America 4. So she's gonna be a Skrull, and it's gonna lead into Secret Invasion.
I would be fine with that because I don't like that Sharon's being a bad girl. I don't like it. So I'd much rather she be a Skrull.
But aren't the Skrulls fighting? Yeah,
well, some can be bad.
So that's the whole plot of the Secret Invasion is that there's a cell of evil Skrulls that have inhabited Earth, and they're trying to figure out who they are.
Yeah, but why Sharon?
Because she wasn't really doing anything before.
Yeah, but why her?
I don't know. Maybe the connection to get her back into the CIA and get government secrets. I don't know. Maybe that was always part of the plan. It's an interesting theory. I don't know that I think it's true, but I think it's an interesting theory.
I don't know. I think that's way too many steps ahead. You're too many light years ahead of the audience, Matt. It's a great theory, but it's too many light years ahead.
No, I'm fully on board with Matt's theory. 4? Like, it totally makes sense. Because why would she be like in Civil War and all these other shows? She's like Mrs. Government, like until she sees the whole thing blow up, and now she's like, I'm gonna get all the because that was the mid-credit scene. Now we have access to all their secrets and all their this and that,
and they're for sale to the highest bidder. Yeah,
but she says line up the buyers, not line up the Skrulls.
Yeah, but if she's a Skrull, she's doing nefarious things. She's taking over the identity of Sharon Carter to get the access to this to sell to evil entities that are out there. Not all Skrulls are.
We don't know who the buyers are.
For what purpose? What purpose do the aliens need for our secrets?
Well, obviously they're sympathizing with the Flag Smashers, and they had this whole Thanos was right movement, and they want things to be back to where it was just 50%. So there's a lot of people out there that she can sell to. That's how you keep the story moving.
But on Earth,
I don't know. I agree. I agree.
I mean, it does fit in. It does fit in with the big three.
You sound wishy-washy.
Aliens, androids, and wizards. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I saw they're selling shirts for that. Kind of want to get one.
Yeah. But no, Matt, I think that's entirely plausible because Secret Invasion is going to be here, in 23?
Yep.
Lance is like, I believe you with every fiber of my body. Every cell in my body, I believe you.
No, when he said it, I was like, why didn't I see that?
I'm not holding my breath for anything.
Yeah, it doesn't
when I theorize.
I just don't want Emily Van Camp to be a bad girl. I don't want her to be a bad girl.
That's why I'm saying I like his theory. I'm just not going to
Emily Van Camp as a bad girl. Lance, you'd finally get to see her wear leather tights.
No, I saw that in Revenge.
Yeah, it's coming back. It's gonna
Well,
come
I mean,
back.
that's the pieces are right there. That's literally
That's
the
two.
plot
I'm
of
counting
Secret
the horn dog
Invasion
Lance moments.
is
Even though
the
that was
invasion of the
initiated by Sam.
scrolls. So everything,
Yeah,
it's all
I-
right there, right in front of you.
Yeah, but at the same time, they have teased Secret Invasion coming.
Why would she need to go back into the? When she already held that position and she would already have had access to all that. Why does she need to get back in to sell that? It's like she would already know this stuff.
A lot of it. Like she could have just sold it. Yeah, that totally makes sense because she was pretty. I mean, she wasn't high ranking, but she wasn't bottom man or low man on the totem pole either. So she would know a lot of things that would be.
What if it's just lazy writing?
Nah, I don't think so. It's Marvel, man. All this stuff connects back to comics and all that. So just saying, like that's their whole thing is they don't want you to know who's a Skrull and who isn't right now. Nick Fury was a Skrull the entire time in Spider-Man Far From Home. So
Yeah, but they told you he was a Skrull
at the very end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're not ready to say.
Yeah, you get suspense. This is gonna carry on over to other things, just like WandaVision does. They're keeping that trump card.
I don't know. I feel like they would want to tell you.
It's a bigger shock when you think it's this person who's righteous and Peggy Carter's. You know, she's related to Peggy Carter and her relationship with Steve Rogers and how he was, and you think that this person that is just and right is just out there now evil and ready to run amok. It holds your interest, and then it turns out that it's a Skrull. It's an even bigger shocker, I think.
So WandaVision ended with a Skrull reveal too. So what Skrull reveal ended? I'm reading the.
There was a Skrull in the after credits. It was just one of the FBI agents or something like that.
That's right. That goes and talks to Monica.
Yeah.
So the last two properties and potentially this one have all had a Skrull reveal at the end. So it's totally plausible what Matt's saying.
It does.
Gotta remember, this is Marvel. They build their stories through their next project. So it's all underlying. Like we took 10 years to get to Thanos. So it's all how they do things.
If she's a Skrull, I feel like we're going like levels deep Inception here, because earlier in the episode she's wearing a mask to hide her identity as Sharon Carter when she's actually hiding her identity as a Skrull. So this is levels. There's levels to this, and I just think it's
like an onion. There's layers.
Great point.
Well,
Max.
she obviously
you agree, right? Sam,
she obviously wanted Bucky to see that she was in disguise.
I know,
so
but
it
lends towards the other. Like, why would a Skrull need that device? Why would they need Black Widow's face device?
Yeah, I don't think that's a good argument in my opinion there, Sam. Like, because she's hiding
Was it
from
really
other
a
people
face device though, or was it just made to look like that, and she was transforming into Sharon Carter as she made it look like that device was changing who she was?
I mean, maybe, but I think that she was using the device.
Seems like a lot of copium you guys are using right now.
Copium to cope with the fact that she's a bad guy?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm saying I'm kind of in the middle. I think it's a fun theory. I don't think it's a correct theory.
Well, the rest of the internet's on Matt's side.
I'm sure that's not true.
I'm
sure a faction of the internet.
Dude, I'm seriously scrolling.
You are scrolling.
You're scrolling?
I have not reached the end.
Man, I am in a punny mood tonight, guys. I'm sorry.
You're going to have to take a honey poo? What did you say?
I said I am in a punny mood tonight.
Oh, punny mood.
Yes.
It's like, what is a honey poo?
All right. Well,
I thought he wanted some honeydew melon. That's what I thought he was asking for.
enough about late night theories. Let's hit the meat, so to speak.
Meat of the episode.
My feet are my feet are sweating just thinking about it.
They finally gave me what I've been wanting this entire season. Action from pretty much start to finish. It seemed like it was just fight scene after fight scene after fight scene. longer fight scenes. Like that's what I've been wanting the entire time, like more action. And this episode delivered, I think.
Yeah, it had some really good action set pieces for sure. I enjoyed some of the action. Some of the action was just kind of okay, and there were moments where I could tell that this was a TV show instead of, on the film budget. But it had way more action. I really enjoyed the helicopter stuff. There were some really silly moments, like when Sam is somehow, even though he's not a super soldier, able to take a helicopter on the back and just bounce it off. Thought that was a little much, but it was cool. There's no moment I'm talking about when he like gets his wings and the shield up top, and then a helicopter bounces off the top of him. I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, so
but it was cool looking.
Are his wings made of vibranium?
Yes, they are. And
yeah,
so it's the shield.
Sure, but that shouldn't impact the fact that a like 1-ton machine is falling on top of him.
Well, no, I mean, if it was built by the Wakandans, so it's probably structural. It's probably was designed to do that. The biggest thing I had was he has no super serum in him, and he's able to keep a truck from falling off of scaffolding. That has nothing to do with
sense
vibranium.
because of the
he's got his jet, so he's got his propulsion, and then he attaches the two other jets to it.
But his arms,
he's just holding it there.
Yeah, his arms are fully extended. Just from
he's getting the push from the chest.
Yeah, I'm with Matt on this one. That wasn't a plot hole to me.
The truck his arms were like, yes, it was keeping him in the air and keeping it from falling, but the whole truck would have been against him, like his.
Yeah, but he can do like 100 burpees, Lance.
Okay, so you guys are
leverage.
I'm looking at it. I'm like, how are his forearms not shattering right now?
So we're kind of scatterbrained here, but you guys are reminding me of a moment just before that I really liked. And I've heard mixed reviews about John Walker and his portrayal in this episode, but I loved the moment where John's faced with the decision: do I go after Carly and get my revenge, or do I save all these innocent people? And I really enjoyed it because I'm sitting there thinking to myself, John throughout this series has consistently done nothing but make poor decision after poor decision when he's in the heat of the moment. But his buddy Lamar says that he constantly makes good decisions. And so I'm sitting there during this moment and I'm like, are you going to finally make a good decision here? Like I audibly said, save them. Like I remember like audibly saying as I was watching this, save those people, please. And he did. I really liked that. Like, I don't know. Some people say it wasn't an earned moment and that it was out of character for what we've seen from him. I don't know that I agree, but what did you guys think about that moment?
I think the pressure of being like having the whole country wanting him as Captain America was off, right? So I think he saw Sam in his suit with the shield. And I think seeing Sam with the suit and the shield took a little bit of pressure off. He didn't have
seen
to
him
be
by
Captain
then?
America. Yeah, they were running together. He was in front of him.
I wasn't sure if he had seen him yet at that point.
Yeah, Sam says, run this way.
Okay.
Go this way. They're that way, and I'm going to go this way. So I think at that point, having all that pressure off, it's why later in the show we see him, big spoiler warning, ready to don the U.S. agent. Like he finally let go of the Captain America name, right? Sam was Captain America. There was a lot of pressure off of him, and he doesn't have to be so. Now he can be more intuitive, like
he can be his own person and not try to inhabit.
Well, yeah,
his prior expectations.
It's an identity crisis thing, right? You got the guy who was supposed to be Captain America turning over the mantle. You've got Cap's best friend, so you're dealing with that. You're dealing with two people that were close to Steve Rogers. Then you're dealing with the public perceiving you as a new Steve Rogers and all the stuff that comes on with that. And you're not quite living, and then you're being told by the two people that are closest to him, you're not living up to this mantle. You can never live up to this mantle. You're not Captain America. So it's just all of that pressure building on him. Yeah. And then the PTSD aspect of it, and then him losing Lamar and all of that really change it. And that's very true to the John Walker character in the comic books too. He's very, plays both sides of the spectrum. So to see him kind of go into that moment and go, all right, I I have a defining moment here where I can live up to Lamar's expectations, because what was the whole running theme of this was living up to expectations, or coming out of someone's shadow and carrying that torch, that mantle. And he can at least live up to the expectations of Lamar, who saw him differently than he saw himself. His wife. Right. And his wife. And he can, take that moment to do right and save lives. And
so would you describe John Walker from the comics as more of an anti-hero, or is he more of a villain?
He's more of an anti-hero. Yeah, he plays both sides quite a bit.
Okay, that's what that was my understanding.
There's points in his history where he's a villain.
Yeah,
there's points where he's a hero.
Like, I mean, throughout the show, he was both.
Yeah, that's just who he is. He kind of reminds me of like the Punisher, right? Like the Punisher. Sometimes the question is there, like, are you a good guy, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's got good intentions, but he does some pretty bad things.
Well, the Punisher's intentions are
selfish and personal.
Selfish, yeah.
They're justice.
John Walker's intentions.
They're Old Testament
intentions aren't selfish. Yeah, he's not. John Walker's not being selfish because he'll continually put himself in harm's way to help somebody. It's just his route to getting there is it
so? I mean, it could be good. You could question it being selfish because he's clearly got a hero complex at the beginning of the show, so he's putting himself into danger to feed that hero complex.
Well, and everybody around him's telling him how great he is.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, you really don't really meet that resistance with him being Captain America until Bucky pretty much tells him you're never going to live up to the hype, bro.
Yeah, that was one of my biggest issues with the second episode of the season, was how much of dicks Sam and Bucky both were to John at that moment for no reason. Like, yeah, John turned out to be kind of a dick himself, but at that moment in time, John was being perfectly pleasant to them, and they were being a-holes. And there's definitely reasons behind it.
Listen. If you died or whatever, and some dude comes over to me, he's wearing your glasses, and he says, "Hi, I'm Max Peterson. This is my wife, Kelsey." I'll be like, "F you, go to hell." Like, I'd be mean too.
He didn't assume the mantle of Steve Rogers. He assumed his job. So if some guy died and then took over my job at work, okay.
It was synonymous. Steve Rogers, Captain America, like it's the same person.
You're right. I mean, my job as an account manager is not the same thing as Captain America. So it's not the greatest example. You're right.
But Steve Rogers was the same front to back. So there was no separation. Like, you're a different person when you're at work than when you're on this podcast. Steve Rogers, it was a continual thing. So it'd probably be hard to separate. You're definitely a different person, dude. I've seen you answer your phone.
Look,
I'm more professional.
Steve Rogers was a hero without the serum. The serum didn't make him that hero.
Yes.
Right.
He was that person when he's getting beaten up in the alley, when he's jumping on grenades. He was that person before he took the serum, and so he was Captain America. And that's kind of like, you have this dude coming in and acting like he's Captain America, and they're looking at him like, what gives you this right? What makes you, a title doesn't make you Captain America. Right. Just because you got that title doesn't mean you're actually Captain America. You're not going to carry this mantle moving forward. And you got to look at it too. Like, Sam is dealing with the fact that he doesn't know if he can live up to that hype. And Bucky's kind of dealing with that fact that he feels betrayed because Sam turned over the mantle. Steve had so much faith in Sam. And in return, Bucky had so much faith in Steve and what Steve saw in him. So if Sam felt like Steve was wrong about choosing him as the successor, then he feels like he's wrong about Bucky being able to be redeemed. And
there's a whole bunch of stuff.
That's what I loved about this series so much, is there's so many layers to it. And I loved you getting to peel back the layers between Bucky and Sam and all of that. Like, I love the fact that they took a break and just gave you these real in-depth character looks and perspectives.
Yeah, I enjoyed
certain
that
points
too.
of the show as well. So,
yeah, like last week's episode, I really enjoyed, even though it was very much a change of pace and more about the shrimp boat and
Yeah.
and other stuff like that. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it seemed like every person in the show had, 3 to 4 different sides to them, right? Like dealing with opposition from all these, internal opposition and external opposition, with it from all angles. It was interesting for the first time in any Marvel property, even considering WandaVision, to see them try to battle with real life, with other people's issues, with grief and all these other things. Like, just to see it felt more human, right? It felt more like what we go through as people every day. Whereas WandaVision, Wanda was dealing with grief, and that was basically her main obstacle, right? Was the grief aspect of it. So it was interesting to see a little bit more.
I don't know what
layered.
world you live in, Lance, but when I go to the bank and get rejected for a bank loan, the teller doesn't ask to take a picture with me. So it's
Yeah.
not the same. Okay.
That doesn't happen to you?
Okay.
No,
Oh man,
never. They never want my autograph or anything.
You gotta
You need to
get
start
your
putting meat through your toes.
They just say
Yeah.
no. You can't
you gotta
have
get
the loan.
you gotta get your online presence up, man. You gotta get that YouTube star power going.
I'm like, but I want $1 million. Why can't you give me $1 million? They're like, your credit score isn't good enough and you don't have enough income. I'm like, but I need $1 million.
Yeah.
Give it to me.
Have you tried to say, listen, do you know who I am? I'm Max from Couch Crunchers. It might work.
So
I'll
what
try
I
it next
do is
time.
I walk in with my Absolute Geek shirt, and they just think I'm Kyle. So
Oh.
I get that too. Yeah.
There you go.
Well, Sam, what did you think? Like, we were talking about the John Walker thing, and you've been kind of quiet. What did you think about that?
Yeah, so for me, this whole thing has been a dialogue around bias and entrenched ideas, and how Sam Wilson, Falcon, kind of fits into that story. He sees all these different pressures pushing on him, right? You have primarily Bucky, who's trying to get him to stand up to the Shield and take on the mantle of Captain America. And then you have John Walker, who's trying to get him to step in line and say and just accept the fact that John Walker is now Captain America, and John Walker really wants Falcon to support him, and I think at first he just doesn't get why they don't. And then you have Carly Morgenthau, who's pushing on him to see the pain that they're going through and sympathize with their cause. And then you have Isaiah Bradley, he's got this pain that keeps him from embracing the idealized America that Steve Rogers represented. And all of these things they form a dialogue about Sam Wilson's choice in this episode. And in a way, he adopts all of them and none of them. And his choice is informed by all of these voices. And in the end, he has to say, it's better for me to take this mantle up and begin working on a solution than for me to put it down and let other forces have their way with it. And as soon as he puts on the gear from the Captain America gear, things start to improve in episode 6. Like things start to get better. Now, they had a lot of really interesting. My favorite episode so far was episode 4. I thought episode 4 was so good. And I feel like they probably didn't quite stick the landing that was set up in episode 4, because you didn't have the same type of conversation being wrapped up. It was just like, it was action, and a lot of people didn't get their promises made. Like Carly Morgenthau, her end is met at the hands of the power broker. John Walker, he doesn't get the catharsis of being the one to put Carly in the ground, right? That was what he was after. He doesn't get that catharsis. And maybe it's better that way. Maybe it's better that he is spared having to kill the person he wants most revenge from. Really, the only catharsis that we see is really Sam and Bucky, and that's great. I mean, they're the title characters, and they're the ones whose journey we're really following. But I would say they got about 70% of the landing, but there were just little things here and there. It was like, okay, I was hoping for a little bit more of an emotional payoff than just a punch him in the face payoff. Because while that's good, you still have to kind of have the people who are wrong morally face the fact that they're wrong, because they didn't have a moment like that. The only moment that was close to it was like the Isaiah Bradley moment where he said, "Oh, you almost had me there. I almost had hope." That was the closest thing to like the switch of the antagonist understanding where their role is, or understanding where they were wrong. Carly never accepted that she was wrong. John Walker doesn't like come out and say, "Yeah, I was wrong." And Zemo, we didn't like. He was my favorite character, especially in episode 4, and he just got one screenshot. He didn't even get to pull the trigger on the last kaboom, and that was I was disappointed in that, because I feel like Daniel Bruhl has done excellent as Zemo in this series, and episode 4 was dynamite. He was very charismatic, even as subtle as he was still very charismatic. And I was really hoping for a payoff with the Zemo storyline. And maybe we'll get it eventually, but I was.
Well, they did say,
episode 6.
was it it was just last week that I'm not sure if this is confirmed or not, but that a season 2 is being made of this, correct, Matt?
I don't think they confirmed. They said that it's likely.
They said that shows like Loki and Falcon Winter Soldier, you're more likely to see a season 2 because they can continue on stories there, as to where a WandaVision, that story is more of a one and done.
This is where the season 2 rumors come in, is because when they submitted Falcon Winter Soldier to the Emmys, they submitted it as a drama series rather than as a short run or a miniseries, like they did with WandaVision.
But here's something
with
I'm curious.
The announcement today of Cap 4 being in production and the writers of Falcon Winter Soldier being on to write that script, I think that kind of puts season 2 in the dirt a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of bummed. Like, I love, anytime a new Marvel movie is announced, that's great. But I kind of liked seeing Bucky and Sam in this episodic. How do you say that?
Oh, I agree. This longer format.
Hours. Yeah, long format. Thank you. We got 6 hours of a story, and it was able to flesh it out some more and stuff. Like, I wish that Marvel's first instinct wasn't, let's make this into a movie. Like some of these things, some of these characters really thrive, especially when you have fantastic actors, specifically Sebastian Stan, who's awesome in most of what he does, to really let them like dive deep into a character. I don't think, besides WandaVision and Falcon Winter Soldier, that we really got that, right? From the ability to dive in so deep to the core of a character with the movies.
I don't know.
I allow them to do that.
I think the shows are a better avenue for what you're talking about. But I can name, I think Thor, Steve Rogers Cap, and Iron Man were dug into very well because they've all had so many movies. But the other characters, not so much. But I'm with you, dude. I hope we get a season 2. I hope that the fact that Cap 4 is coming out doesn't mean we don't get a season 2. But what that may mean is that we get Cap 4 and then we get, season 2 after that. I'm curious to see, because the John Walker story is clearly not resolved. and I wouldn't expect him to be in the movie. Maybe that's a weird thing for me not to expect, but I feel like his character would make more sense in a season 2. Not that the character couldn't move to the film universe as well, but I don't know. I think there's room for both, but I do think you're right that if they're making Cap 4, it means that season 2 of this is going to be on hiatus.
I think his story is going to play out in Secret Invasion because know, at the end he's told that something's coming and where we're going, we're going to need not a Captain America but a U.S. agent. So I think Secret Invasion is going to be his story is going to continue there. You got to remember, Marvel. All these, just because the season ended doesn't mean these stories are done. They're gonna
they're a long game
on,
kind of company.
So because there's a lot of people out there complaining, well, we didn't get conclusions to this, and this. Well, just because it didn't come yet doesn't mean it's not coming.
Oh, I totally.
Oh yeah, we first got teased Thanos in the
original Avengers in 2012.
Oh, the original Avengers, just his face,
and
it took 6 years or however many years after that to really get the conclusion. So yeah, it's definitely Marvel's in it for the long.
Well, and even these shows are kind of setting these characters up to deal with what's happened with Thanos and that fallout to position them for where they're going to be moving forward. So that's what WandaVision did. It kind of positioned her for where she's going to be with Doctor Strange moving forward. And same with Bucky. It put him in this new area to propel him for where he's going, not where he's been. He can finally release the Winter Soldier and move forward. So,
yeah, the TV shows are kind of Disney's new version of the one-shots. Remember the one-shots that they did? They kind of told a story that maybe wasn't movie material, right? Because nobody wants to see another origin story for Captain America, right? But they did it in a TV show so they can add all these other layers that typically an origin story doesn't allow you to add. And really, WandaVision's show was kind of an origin story for the most part. I mean,
for Scarlet
Witch at this point. So it allowed you to dive deeper to whereas Captain America 1, Iron Man 1, Thor 1, those other movies maybe have to cut some of that character building out to get to the origin aspect of it. So now we just need a movie about how Uncle Ben died. Or a show.
A TV show all about Uncle Ben.
I'm just kidding. Who wouldn't? Well, I'd sign up for anything with Marissa Tomei. Put that check on your list.
That's 3.
Uncle Ben was a Skrull.
I'd sign up for that movie.
Yeah. They should make Uncle Ben like a rice farmer. Uncle Ben's Rice. Oh no, they changed the name of it.
I was like,
sometimes they don't.
It happened to me years ago. I don't remember what joke it was, but I thought I had a real good zinger, and I said it, and you guys didn't even give me a courtesy laugh. It was that bad.
Yeah, I know. We need a soundboard for all our failed jokes tonight. The only one that's consistently hitting is feet meat.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the show that I'm still most excited for, even when they were all announced, is the Loki show. Like, I think Loki is gonna exceed many people's expectations. Like, WandaVision was great, and this was great, and I think Loki's gonna be awesome.
I don't know. I felt like episode 4 of Falcon Winter Soldier gave me a glimpse of some really great writing, and it made me think what is possible if you have the writers of like Better Call Saul writing Marvel shows, and what would that even look like? What would that feel like? And how good could Marvel TV become?
You have Falcon flying around screaming, "Yeah, flight, bitch!" What are we doing here, Mr. Bucky, Mr. Barnes?
But the writing could be so good, and the in-depth examination of these characters could be so intense in these kind of longer form it seems like they give them about 300 minutes total per series, whether it's the half-hour style that we got with WandaVision or the full-hour style we got with Falcon Winter Soldier. With 300 minutes, you're telling a lot more story, or you're still telling about the same amount of story, but you're getting a lot more in depth with the characters themselves and their choices and the things that kind of make them tick. And that, I feel, is a lot more compelling than a lot of what we get in the Marvel movie studio releases. And so I'm with you, Lance. I'm really enjoying the kind of deep dive into these characters and where they're at. Now, the problem with this particular one is that episode 4 was so intense, they kind of took a break in episode 5 before diving back in episode 6.
Yeah. There did seem to be a lot of like really high moments and the kind of lower moments. Like there was moments when I was like struggling to pay attention, right? Where I had to watch it, I had to rewind and watch it over again. So not to say that it was stellar all the way through. WandaVision, I know you guys don't agree. I liked WandaVision way more because WandaVision, like I could not.
How do you know we don't agree? Because I liked WandaVision a lot more.
Oh, I brought this up before.
In this one.
I brought this up before, and it seemed like everybody was more on the Falcon.
I don't know if you can compare the two because I think they're two vastly different TV shows.
They're two vastly different TV shows, but if I had to like pick which one I like more, WandaVision I liked more. WandaVision, especially because like it was a more fun experience from start to finish. Falcon and Winter Soldier, aka Captain America and the Winter Soldier now, was awesome, and I loved it. But the mystique and the mystery behind WandaVision, like I had discussions at family dinner like every Sunday. I've never talked to my family about this show. I should say never. We talked about it once for a few minutes. Like it's a really good show, but I don't think the talking points are nearly as interesting as WandaVision.
I mean, if I had to come up with somebody who was the power broker before I thought it was Sharon Carter, I would have said it was Agatha all along.
One thing I've learned from this is Sam's very good at predicting these things. I remember him saying, and I always tell him he's wrong, and then I end up having to eat crow. So,
well, I mean, if she wasn't holding an iPhone, man, all villains in Marvel movies don't hold iPhones. Haven't you seen that theory? That everyone who's turned out to be a villain in a Marvel movie has a different phone than an iPhone. Every other character has an iPhone, except for the villain. And whenever she's seen talking on the phone, it's not an iPhone.
So what did Thanos have?
I don't think he used a phone. He had a gauntlet.
He had Nebula.
Well, he didn't have an iPhone. That's the point. He communicated in a different way.
Nebula
it was a huge thing going around the internet that everyone was predicting she's going to be the power broker because all the bad guys in Marvel movies up to that point have not used iPhones and everyone else has.
Well, I'm with the bad guys then.
The patience to figure something out like
that. Dude, the fanboys run deep, bro. That's all I'm saying. People have been locked inside for a year. Fanboys run deep.
Yeah, if Josh Swain could come up with a battle royale in Lincoln, Nebraska, fanboys certainly have the brain power to discover these things.
Well, and I rewatch these movies fairly often. I notice random crap too, so it doesn't surprise me that someone noticed that kind of thing.
Notice that between 23 movies and 2 television shows,
I wouldn't be surprised.
Guy doesn't have an iPhone. I wouldn't even think to look.
It's probably not true. It's probably just most of the time.
It's true. I already believe it. It's true.
I saw it on the internet. It's real.
Yep. No, I just heard Matt mention it. I just heard Matt mention that he saw it on the internet. That's all I need.
Yep.
I don't even need to see it.
So it's third-hand internet. Third-person internet.
A monkey told the internet who told my friend who told me. It's true.
I'm just trying to think of how often you see, like, does every villain in every movie at some point hold a phone? Like, do we know what kind of phone, I'm trying to think of, like, Hela uses?
And that's why that's why I'm saying I don't think it's true. I just think it's a funny observation that's probably true on a few villains.
Well, Disney is
Loki didn't use a phone. Hela doesn't use a
Disney.
phone.
Disney and Apple are like this.
They're hunky dory, huh?
Yeah, because Steve Jobs, I think, helped create Pixar or something like that.
Somebody's got to be happy with Apple because most big tech companies don't get along with them. Everyone else fights Apple. But that's not what the show is about. Let's talk about Falcons.
Okay, so Sam, you've brought up the point of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, and the episode 4 being on par with those shows, right? So if you had to pick Vince Gilligan to write a Marvel property, what would you pick him to write?
What would I choose?
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like the idea of John Walker's story being written by Vince Gilligan, the Breaking Bad, right? Somebody who starts with a lot of promise, but then makes bad choice after bad choice, and it takes him down an ever darker path.
I think Jessica Jones and Punisher.
Sharon Carter would be another character that would be good for that because, or as she's portrayed here, that she's going down a darker and darker path all the time, and she's choosing these criminals, or her criminal life over her legitimate life. I'd like to see how she became the power broker, right? That's basically Heisenberg, right? An
we might see it if she's a Skrull.
Upstanding citizen turned powerful underworld overlord, right? That's what Sharon Carter's journey appears to be, regardless of her status as a Skrull. But yeah, something along those lines. The characters who start with good intentions, they justify their bad choices with those good intentions, and eventually the good intentions fade away. Yeah, something along those lines, like maybe the Thunderbolts or just anything that those two characters who started good and then they made really poor choices and things got really dark for them real quick.
That's what I'm really excited about, because with the reveal of U.S. Agent is the potential for a Thunderbolts adaptation. Don't you think, Matt?
No, I think you're looking more Dark Avengers than Thunderbolts right now.
Really?
Thunderbolts is possible, but you need a lot more. There's a lot of other characters you need involvement from that have been in movies but haven't showed up lately.
Yeah.
But I think you're more set up for like a Dark Avengers before Thunderbolts, but it's possible they could get there real quick.
Trying to see. Well, Taskmaster's coming in. So he at one point was part of Thunderbolts, right? He's coming in the new Black Widow movie.
Mm-hmm.
Winter Soldier, Black Widow, Luke Cage. Who's Citizen V? I don't even know who that is. Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Norman Osborn.
But I mean, so you got to think though too is that they're making this transitional switch now to they're looking more young Avengers. That's why you're getting Kate Bishop. They're transitioning a lot of these older heroes out. So Jeremy Renner's getting transitioned out with the introduction of Kate Bishop. You're getting, a lot of these. You're going to get some transitions out. So
daughter.
Yeah. So Riri Williams
Man.
coming in, transitioning out Tony Stark to play Ironheart. You're getting Ant-Man's daughter Cassandra coming in to transition him. So I think if you're gonna get Thunderbolts, it's gonna be down the line. But I think their focus right now is Young Avengers and Secret Invasion, which could lead to. Who knows? I mean, I would say Dark Avengers, but who knows? You could get Thunderbolts very easily out of Secret Invasion, depending on what they do with it and how they go with it. So I think your guess is as good as mine at this point.
Yeah. I definitely know Young Avengers is coming. I mean, they went and recast Ant-Man's daughter, and her name is it Cassidy? What's her name?
Cassie Kane.
Cassie.
Oh no, not Cassie Kane. Sorry, it is Cassandra. Her name is Cassie though. But
yes, they recast Cassie with a more recognizable
Cassie Lang.
actress.
Yeah.
The girl from Freaky and Supernatural and all those other shows. They recast this character. The only reason they would recast her with a better known character is to potentially, provide a little bit of star power to whatever property they're planning on coming out with. I mean, that's the only reason.
And I mean, you've already got Wiccan and Speed. They're Young Avengers. So Isaiah Bradley's grandson, he's I can't even think of his name now, but he's like the Captain America of the group. And then you've got Kate Bishop, Riri Williams, like Camilla Khan's coming. So there's that trend. We're seeing that big transition to the younger hero. So,
but you could argue, I mean, it sounds like Cassie could potentially lead the whole thing, right? I mean, she's the biggest actress out of
I don't think she'll be the leader of the group, but
you think she's bigger than
I don't think she's bigger than Haley Steinfeld.
Haley Steinfeld?
Oh, Haley Steinfeld. Yeah. I forgot that she was Kate Bishop. No, Haley Steinfeld's definitely the biggest. But you don't who's Isaiah Bradley's grandson supposed to be?
Just some
Eli
dude.
Bradley.
Yeah, he's I can't think of his name right now. He's Patriot. That's his name. Patriot.
Really?
Eli.
Oh, that's cool. See, there's all these little things that go over my head that I didn't even realize. Like, I didn't realize that that kid had any significance. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But, well, let's. Is there anything else? It seemed like
there's
a
a
pretty
lot.
dry episode.
There's a lot about this episode we didn't talk about. At least for me. There's some things that I definitely want to mention, but I can just mention them when I
go ahead.
Sum up.
No, go ahead. I know you wanted to talk about the end scene involving Isaiah Bradley.
Yeah, that was the most touching scene in the entire series. I thought I cried 4 times during this episode, not even gonna lie.
Oh man.
And I already brought up one of them. Yeah, I am a pansy. The John Walker making the right decision thing. I really like that. That was a lesson.
You cried?
No, not cried. It was more of a I was just excited. It made me emotional in a good way because I like to see characters make the right choices.
You cried,
and I've come to like his character. I cried like a baby. So there was one Sam's speech. I thought his speech was really good. The show took the trajectory I wanted. I think it was during episode 4. I said what I really want to see happen is that Sam. Right now Sam doesn't think that he can be Captain America because of his race. I'm really hoping that he sees that there's more hope in America than he realizes, and that people will accept a Black Captain America. And that's what happened. And I really liked his speech. And it talked about how, there's room for growth. People are going to hate him, which he's right. There are always going to be people that are going to hate, no matter what. So I really liked his speech. I thought it was moving. And then there was another moment with Bucky when he was finally owning up to Mr. I can't remember his name, but the man whose son he killed, when he was talking to him, that moment was really good. Nakajima. Thank you. I didn't want to say it wrong and then sound like an idiot. And then finally, the Isaiah Bradley one. So I thought this episode had some really, really great emotionally charged moments that to me, I found really moving. Even on a second watch, they were really moving to me. So I was impressed. I think Sebastian Stan, by the way, is just a phenomenal actor. And the actor for Isaiah is also really good. There was so much subtleness to the emotion that he was portraying for Isaiah Bradley in that moment. It was just amazing. You could see so much emotion, but yet Isaiah wasn't doing much because it was a slow build until then you could see a little bit of welling up in Isaiah's eyes. And you could see the slow move towards grabbing Sam's hand to shake his hand and then moving in to hug Sam. I just thought the performances, especially from those two, Sebastian Stan and the actor for Isaiah Bradley. Sorry, I don't know the actor's name off the top of my head, but
Carl Lumbly.
Carl Lumbly were so good. And again, with Isaiah's character, he was in this place of just absolutely no hope. And that's why I like that Sam became Captain America, because he's doing what Cap would do. He's bringing hope to the hopeless. And Isaiah had no hope left in America, no hope that anyone could possibly accept him, that his story would never get, told, that it shouldn't be told. And then Sam does what? He takes this man who's very bitter because of his experiences, understandably so, and he turns him into someone who actually feels proud of what Sam is doing and is emotionally happy that his story is being told. I just thought it was beautiful. So I wanted to make sure that those moments were brought up, because they had an impact on me when I watched the episode.
I think so. The Isaiah Bradley moment that you're talking about. So for a while we've been saying how episode 2, we really didn't like that much because for different reasons. My whole issue was that they went into the race stuff so early into the show that I felt like it wasn't earned to get into those topics yet. It also is something that's constantly stuffed in my face, whether you watch news or anything. But by the end of the series, episode 2 kind of redeemed itself a little bit because it offered more context as to what was happening. Max and I talked about this on the phone. It's one of the reasons I don't watch Supergirl anymore, because it always has like an agenda. And from the second episode on, it felt like this show was going to have an agenda, but it wrapped that story up with whatever agenda it was promoting a little bit better. Am I speaking correctly? I'm a little flustered.
I get what you're saying, and I agree. This episode, tying up the whole story, made me like episode 2 better than I did originally. I watch these kinds of shows to escape reality, because reality is harsh and can be really depressing. And so episode 2 for me, I was just like, I'm trying to just, sit back and have some fun. And so I didn't enjoy it very much.
A little too real.
Yeah, which, some people would argue that that's my privilege or whatever. And if you want to make that argument, you can. But I didn't enjoy it very much. But this episode kind of helped me see the full picture, and it helped. I liked it.
One of the things I found funny about this series is they kind of pigeonholed themselves with the writing as far as like Steve Rogers. Like episode 5, they spent so much time like referencing Steve Rogers, and you're like, they're referencing him in like the past tense, like he's dead. And this show takes place like right after it takes place right after Infinity, or right after Endgame. So they're like Steve Rogers, and they're talking to him in the past tense, and then they're like, it's like the writers are like, oh shit, we got to figure out how we're gonna tie up the Steve Rogers thing. Oh, we'll just do it nonchalantly in the beginning of the final episode. Be like, oh well, isn't he on the moon? It just.
Well, they mentioned the moon thing a couple times.
I only caught it that once.
No,
they caught it
last moon episode, and then they.
Torres mentions it in the first episode.
Yeah, I remember that being mentioned. It was a funny little joke.
Yeah, because they're like, what's the real deal? Like, is it true he's on the moon? There was a whole exchange, and then this last episode, Sam says, "I'm Captain America," and this guy is like, "What? I thought he was on the moon." Never mind that Captain America was white and now he's black. Like, but the guy thought he was the same person apparently. So, but
that guy's been living under a rock, because there was a whole other Captain America in between those two. So.
But yeah, the moon's mentioned quite often. That's a pretty famous storyline, him being on the moon.
So speaking of which,
what
are we supposed to believe? What are we supposed to believe is going on with Steve Rogers right now? Because he wasn't dead at the end of Endgame. I would imagine he's still alive, just finishing off his life. Or did he die?
There's several theories on that. I was looking that up.
He's eating his banana pudding in the home.
There's a theory that he came back to the timeline that Sam and Bucky and all them were in, and then went back to his timeline after, like that he wasn't from that like he goes back to and he's in a different timeline with Peggy, but there's a theory that after he hands the shield to Sam, he goes back to his timeline. There's that theory. The way they speak of him, though, it sounds like he died.
That's what I'm saying. It sounds like they're talking about him dying. I'm like, he was alive like a few months ago.
Which I don't believe that he died, because if Steve Rogers died, wouldn't there be some sort of funeral?
Yes.
And they would put it on the show. So
if he was going to die, they should have killed him in Civil War.
What?
That's all I said, if he was going to die, they should have killed him in Civil War like he does in the comic books. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a whole bunch of issues with Civil War.
I think, there's a storyline in the comics where Steve Rogers has the super soldier serum removed from him, and that's when you get the new Captain America and you get the John Walker stuff, and John Walker gives up the mantle of Captain America, saying that Steve Rogers is the only one that can carry it, and Steve Rogers comes back to being Captain America at that point. So it's like this has been played out. So I think they're secretly trying to work on Chris Evans to get him to come back at some point or something.
Quite a few times,
and so that's why they're playing this game of keep you guessing to try to get him to come back. But.
So I think that'd be cool if Chris Evans came back. I think Sam is a great Captain America, but Chris Evans, it's Chris Evans. It was Steve Rogers. But
see, I disagree with Sam being a great Captain America. Can I just touch on that point that you just made? Sure. And it's not so much Sam being Captain America or about a black man being Captain America or whatever it is. I just don't think Anthony Mackie has the presence.
Yeah, you don't like Anthony Mackie. You've made that abundantly clear on this podcast.
It's not that I don't
like him.
How can you not like Papa Doc? Come on, man.
8 Mile. Okay, 8 Mile is a great movie. But he just doesn't have the presence that all the people around him have. The Scarlett Johanssons, the Robert Downey Jr.'s, the Chris Evans, even Sebastian Stan. I mean, Sebastian Stan, every scene he was in this show when he was with Sam, steals the scene. And Daniel Bruhl as well, like has much more presence than Anthony Mackie. Every show that I've seen with Anthony Mackie as a starring role or movie, they're just kind of lackluster. You know what I mean? Like Alter Carbon, I couldn't get through the first episode of the second season.
Yeah, he definitely wasn't as good as the first season of Alter Carbon. I grew
of a cheap man's Will Smith.
Interesting. I like Anthony Mackie, but I don't think he's like incredible. But I did find him to be like I found in this series, I grew to like Sam Wilson way more than I did before. But what I was about to say earlier was just something that I found kind of cool. I don't think Sam or Matt know my wife at all, but Lance, you do, you know her quite well. And would you say that she gets into superhero stuff much? No, she doesn't. She doesn't dislike it. Like she watches the Marvel stuff with me, and most of the DC stuff, but she doesn't really get into it. It's just something that she'll watch with me. But today we're watching the finale together, and Sam comes flying in his suit, and she like audibly was like, "Woo!" And I just thought it was so cool to like see my wife get into it. Like she loved it. She's been saying from the beginning she thought Sam was the right choice. She was so happy that Cap gave the shield to Sam, and she thought he looked really cool in his outfit. I know it's the outfit from the comics, but some moments I thought it looked really cool. Other moments I thought it looked like a CW show outfit.
It was like a little too baggy on him or something.
Yeah, sometimes it made him look really
got to
thin.
bulk up and fill it out or something.
Yeah, there were some moments that it looked really cool. When he was flying, I thought it looked really cool. But anytime he was like walking around, it looked kind of baggy on him and not as good. But
when he was flying,
I just thought it was cool that yeah, that's true.
The only part I didn't like is the thing that comes up his neck and around his ears for no reason.
It looked weird.
Yeah,
kind of looked like a cowl type thing, and then he just has like two little holes for his ears.
Well, his ears poking out is. I was looking at some pictures from the comics, and that's kind of how it looked, but it just looks kind of silly. Looks a little funny to me.
Well, maybe it's like a neck support deal. It looked to me like a neck support. If you play football, you gotta have neck support.
I honestly noticed he wasn't turning his neck very much, so it could be that it actually is a neck support thing, and the costume was hard to move around in. Because there were times where I'd see him look to the right, and instead of looking to the right, he would just turn his whole body to the right. I don't know. Anyway, those are some of the things I wanted to touch on. If you want to, if we have nothing else, we can get into our, ratings. But I wanted to make sure those points were brought up.
Yeah, I also wanted to say, you made a point with Sebastian Stan, like his scenes being very emotional and stuff.
Yeah,
and he has a knack from the look of his face, kind of exemplifying that emotion. Like, I thought he was fantastic from start to finish. Sebastian Stan specifically.
he was awesome.
Yeah,
he was awesome when he was being broken of his brainwashing. That moment was really good. There were a lot of amazing moments with Sam, with Sam too, but with Bucky.
Yeah, so let's get into our ratings. Matt, you are our guest, and as a celebration for Absolute Geek Podcast coming back,
woo,
you get to go first.
Oh man, what a celebration! I feel like we're the streamers. This episode overall, I give a 5. The entirety of the show, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I give it a 7
out of 5.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I forgot you guys do 5, right? So, okay. So change that. So the episode, I give a 3 out of 5. The overall of the show, I give a 4 out of 5.
Nice.
Okay.
Sam, what about you?
So this particular episode, I thought it was mostly good. And there were a few parts that I thought they didn't wrap up. I didn't think they wrapped up the Carly Morgenthau storyline very well. I didn't think that they gave John Walker his due either. But other than that, I really enjoyed the way that they treated Bucky and Sam. I thought, so after episode 2, I was like, okay, there's going to be a purpose for all of this kind of race bait trope stuff that they're doing right now. And there was. The idea behind that was the fact that Sam was going to be tempted to join in or carry on Isaiah Bradley's bitterness, right? His anger and his frustration. And prevent that was a temptation to prevent him from adopting the mantle of Captain America. And they did a good job of tying that little story up, or that plot thread up with Sam saying, look, yeah, there's a lot of people who are going to be questioning what I'm saying or what I'm choosing right now. But nevertheless, I'm going forward because I think I'm the best option. And I love when main characters bet on themselves. It's always a great way to go. So I really did enjoy it. I thought they did a good job wrapping up those threads, and I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5 for this episode. For the series, I'm going to give it a 4.
Max, what about you?
Well, I absolutely loved this episode. It was my favorite episode of the season. Earlier today, I was considering giving it a 5 out of 5, but as I reflect on it, there are definitely a couple things I didn't particularly love. Like, I found some things to be silly, like the helicopter bouncing off of Sam's shield when he's not a super soldier. And I thought the suit kind of looked silly at times. But overall, I thought it was great. I thought there were, at least, like I said, 4 moments that were emotionally very impactful for me. I thought the message of the show overall turned out great. So 4.5, out of 5 for this episode. And the show as a whole, I'm going to give a 4 out of 5.
So I really like the episode as well. So for all the points you guys talked on, but there were some things in the show that were a little annoying, I guess you could say. Even though, like, my political background, like, kind of aligns with some of the things they were, like, I believe in some of the things they were saying, but it just felt like it was just too much. It's why I stopped watching Supergirl and all these other shows. Like, I just don't want to be completely reminded of all the crap that's out in the world, right? So So the series, I give it a 4 out of 5, and the episode I give it a 3.5 out of 5. Maybe a 4 out of 5. I give a 4 out of 5 and the series a 4 out of 5. See, I changed my mind in a matter of seconds. So Matt, my friend, so Absolute Geek is back.
Yes.
So you are, when are you guys on? How can people find you? Like, kind of give a shout out here a little bit.
Yeah, so I mean, like the Phoenix, living in Phoenix, gonna resurrect it. Right now I'm still in the planning stages of it, still trying to find co-hosts, still trying to decide if I want to do co-host or go by myself. Haven't figured out a time yet. Still kind of playing with that. All this kind of came up this week, but yeah, you can find me and the show at absolutegeekpodcast.com. You can find us on Twitter at ageekpodcast, Instagram at Absolute Geek Podcast, and youtube.com/Absolute Geek Podcast. So
awesome. And I'm just excited.
Groundbreaking stuff coming, so we'll see.
I'm just excited because I get to go guest on the Absolute Geek Podcast again, because I miss doing that.
You know, it's going to be different, and I wish Kyle and those guys the best over at Modern Comic Mayhem. But you know, I think you and I had this conversation. It's just when you align yourself with people that are trying to be a little bit more corporate aspect of things, it doesn't always work out well. And you know, I wish them the best, but it wasn't for me. If I'm gonna make something of this, I want it to be on my terms and my style and my realm. So
taking your own shield back.
That's right.
And we've kind of, Matt and I have talked about this, you know, but we do this podcast because it's fun, and I get to talk to my buddies every week, and it's kind of like my my mandate, right? Like, this is what we would be doing if all four of us were sitting on the couch in my living room right now, right? We just
Speaking of mandates, Lance and I have a mandate coming up soon.
Oh,
we're
yeah.
do
By the way,
Mortal
I
Kombat
have
tonight.
to talk to you about that.
Oh, that better not get canceled. Don't cancel on me.
No, it's not canceled.
Okay, cool.
It's just the plans are changing.
Okay.
So I'll go over it with you.
We'll talk when the show's over.
But yeah, man, some of the best.
Save yourself the money and just watch it on HBO Max, guys.
You didn't like it?
No, I liked it. I liked it.
This coming from the guy that's like, oh, it's so amazing on Facebook.
No, I did. I liked it a lot, but
I just like going to the theaters.
We just want to get out of the house.
I've heard it's not very good. I just want to go to the theater.
I liked it. I mean, if you like the original,
This all came about because I watched the opening 7 minutes today on HBO Max, and I was freaking loving it. Yeah. I thought the samurai action in the opening sequence was bad A. Thought it was great. So then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to stop. I'm going to call Lance, see if he wants to go tonight after the podcast. And so that's where we're at.
If you're in it for the fight scenes and the fatalities, you're going to be golden. If you're going in for looking for plot and character depth,
I'm there for action. That's
save your time. There you go.
Well, even when I play the Mortal Kombat games and they have like the story mode and they try to introduce a plot, I'm like rolling my eyes, right?
I'm a very casual Mortal Kombat player. I haven't played it like in a long time, so I'm not overly concerned about the story. I don't know the lore that much. I just play it because you can punch your friends, and it looks cool.
Does Noob Sabot make an appearance?
No.
I don't even know what that means. See,
didn't you watch it? Haven't you watched it, Sam?
No, not yet.
I thought you did a review of it on Facebook today.
No, I was Demon Train.
Oh, okay.
Or Demon Slayer Mugen Train.
We are reviewing it next week, though. So
right.
So speaking of next week, Mortal Kombat, because now Falcon the Winter Soldier is done. It's kind of nice Disney doing these shows because we have a plan for like 6 weeks.
Yeah, it's great.
Next week Mortal Kombat right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. and on Mondays on your favorite podcast app. Big thank you to Matt for joining the show tonight.
Thank you guys. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, you're welcome anytime.
It's always
buddy.
fun.
We love having you on. And then go check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Whatever new streaming service is going to pop up next week, we'll be on that too. So, and until next time, keep on geeking on.